Welcome back to the Red Room, basically the second talk in this room of the day. We're going to continue our theme with very specialized, very targeted, or very national APTs. And the next talk will be it's titled APT Cases Exploiting Vulnerabilities in Region-Specific Software. And in this case, the region seems to be mainly Japan. We have four authors here. We have Shusei Tomonaga, Tomoaki Tani. We have Hiroshi Sueda, sorry about this, and Wataru Takahashi. Gosh, and I just spent 3 weeks in Japan. Can you believe that? But the speakers today are going to be Shusei-san and Tomoaki-san, and they're going to be talking about their experiences with APTs in Japan. Welcome on stage.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. And I'm Tomoaki Tani from JP-SART, and our presentation today is about APT case study in Japan. Okay, let me introduce about ourselves. Shusei, and I came from JP-SART, and our responsibility are DFIR and malware analysis. We have posted our researches and some tools for DFIR and malware analysis on our blog and GitHub, so please check it out. Okay, let's move on to the main topic of today's topic, APT cases exploiting vulnerabilities in region-specific software. As you know, APT attacks often leverage software vulnerabilities to infect victims with malware. Software that is often targeted includes Microsoft Office or Internet Explorer or Adobe Flash Players, which is commonly used than anywhere. On the other hand, in some APT case campaigns, attacks are carried out by exploiting vulnerabilities in region-specific software. Furthermore, the government agency frequently use such local software, and this tends to be targeted. These attack cases are rarely discussed in international conference, as the issue is exclusive to a certain country. However, it is important to understand the detail of such attack cases in determining countermeasures. Okay, in Japan, there are many cases where attacks were carried out by exploiting vulnerabilities in software that is only used in Japan. Also, the malware used in the attacks was unique to Japan. Okay, so the goal of this presentation is to share attack examples where region-specific software is leveraged. Okay, here is a topic for today's presentation. We will talk about 4 APT cases leverage region-specific software vulnerabilities. First 2 cases, a little bit old cases, and the later 2 cases is the recent cases. So finally, we will show the characteristic TTPs for the APT campaigns targeting Japan. Okay, let's move on to the first case, Sasrow's vulnerability. Maybe everyone don't know what is Sasrow, so I would like to explain a little bit about Sasrow. Sasrow is a spreadsheet application similar to Microsoft Excel. You can find a screenshot of the Sasrow on the right part of the slide, and you can find it's very, very similar to Microsoft Excel, and it's not a copy, it's just a Japanese Microsoft Excel. So, yeah. So this application was widely used in Japan, especially in Japanese government agency and educational sector. And the APT attacker used Sasrow zero-day exploit in December 2013, and that vulnerability was disclosed in January 2014. This exploit was used with PlugX, a very, very famous commercial malware, and this time we were not able to determine which campaign it was. Okay, the detail about this vulnerability. This vulnerability allows executing arbitrary code after the user opens the Sasrow document file. The vulnerability originated in its lack of data size validation and allows overriding the return address of the stack frame. And as a result, our arbitrary code can be executed on the stack frame. Very, very typical vulnerability. This vulnerability was used in the case of an APT attack targeting Japanese government agencies. In this case, the attacker sends a decoy Sasrow document with a zero-day exploit via spear phishing email. The arbitrary code executed by the zero-day exploit was a very simple Windows shellcode with XOR decode routine. This shellcode simply decodes encoded data embedded in the Sasrow document, and the encoded data on the Sasrow document was a plug X, and it was executed after user opens the decoy file with opening with Sasrow application. The malware plug X used in this case communicates to the specific C2 server, the hard-coded C2 server. And an interesting point here is that several plug X samples were connecting to the same server, but the exploit used to execute the malware were different. Some of these exploits had used as zero-day exploits, such as Sasrow's case, which I mentioned now, and Ichitaro case I will show in the next case. This fact indicates that this actor was very, very interested in Japanese product and had a good skills to research and developing zero-day exploits. Okay, let's move on to the second case, targeting Ichitaro. Maybe everyone doesn't know Ichitaro, so I would like to explain a little bit about it. And Ichitaro is a Japanese word processor similar to Microsoft Word. And again, it's not a copy product, it's just a Japanese Microsoft Word. And it has been widely used in Japanese government as well as general users in Japan. And unfortunately, there were many vulnerabilities leveraged as Ichitaro's zero-day exploit and APT campaigns since 2010. And today, I would like to show the case CVE 2014-7247. This vulnerability had been used in November 2014 as zero-day exploit by several APT campaigns. And attacking campaigns using this vulnerability were Blue Termite and APT-17. Okay, this vulnerability allows executing arbitrary code, the same logic as the previous case I showed in the Sasrow. And it was used in the case of the APT attack targeting Japanese government agencies and Japanese enterprises. The method to deliver the exploit was spear phishing email, and the same as I previously showed. And the shellcode embedded in the Ichitaro decoy file was almost same as Sasrow's case. And the different point here is that there were several types of malware embedded with this exploit. One is MDB, and one is PlugX, and one is AGTID. From here, I would like to show the overview of these malwares. Okay, MDB. MDB is a notorious malware used in the campaign Blue Termite. And the infection was, the infected organization was over 100 organizations in Japan. A very huge impact it made. And this malware is managed with a version number by the attacker, and you can find the number in the binary. And two versions, T17 and T20, were mostly used in this campaign. Both are HTTP bot with basic functions, and T20 was highly sophisticated. And we believe T70 is used for the initial infection, and T20 is used for the second stage infection. In some cases, the targeted organization's proxy server address was hard-coded to the T20's malware. Okay, and in the Blue Terminate campaign, several types of web server will install in the C2 server and used as attackers' infrastructures, such as destination host of MDB. Here is a web shell sample we found on the C2 server, and another one. And most of the web shells we observed was an open source tool. And these servers were located in Japan, and they were compromised by the attacker in the campaign. We believe they used this server as a tier 1 C2 server, and there was another, we believe, another C2 server tier 2. Okay, and the next malware. The next malware is AGTID. And this malware was embedded with Ichitaro exploit. And AGTID is a simple bot communicate via HTTP. This malware was used to attack Japanese enterprise and APT 17 campaign. The unique point of this malware is that have a unique HTTP header named AGTID. The value of the AGTID header was random or used for identify the victim. This malware was used for the initial infection in APT 17 campaign. Okay, here is the attacking timeline of Ichitaro's zero-day exploit. The first malware, PlugX and MDB with exploit was used on November 3rd, 2014 in the Blue Terminate campaign. Only after a very short term later, the APT 17 campaign used the same zero-day exploit with AGTID. It indicates that the exploit has shared with several campaigns, and possibly the actor behind these cases were on a close position, we believe. Finally, the product developer of Ichitaro announced the vulnerability and released the patch on November 14th. Okay, from here I would like to switch to Shusei, and he will show the recent cases of the APT.
The third case is Skysea Client View's vulnerability. Skysea Client View is one of the software asset management software. Skysea is a software that records log of user operation and is used in many organizations in Japan. This zero-day vulnerability has been used to spread malware infection from 2016 and to 2019. Other campaigns using this vulnerability are called Bronze Butler or Tick. This software has a remote code execution vulnerability. Skysea Client agent is controlled by the admin server. The port used for the connection is 52305 UDP. An attacker can remotely control Skysea Client agent by sending specifically crafted packet to this port. However, there is no importance to the host inside the firewall because it is not accessible from internet. So how is the vulnerability leveraged in this attack? In Japan, some mobile Wi-Fi router has a global IP addresses. Such mobile Wi-Fi router were used as an entry point of the malware into a host. When the malware infected device is connected to a corporate network, the malware infection also spreads to the networks. This graph shows the trend of scanning activity which targeting this vulnerability. This is an analysis through Tsubame, which is a joint network monitoring system that JPSAT operations. We wrote a blog article about this vulnerability in February 2019, and since then the attack activity has stopped. This scan activity has two different characteristics from other scan activities. First, This scan activity is only observed on the sensor placed in Japan, including that the attacker is targeting IP address allocated to Japan. Second, the remote exploit attack rates from long time, but there are only 3 IP addresses. Attack group Bronze Battle leverages this vulnerability to spread multi-malware infection. The first is Wari. Wari is a downloader. This malware has a function to execute PowerShell command. Wari received a script that collects host environment information. Second is a small downloader. This downloader only download and execute P files. When this malware is executed, it downloads base64 encoded RAT called XXMM. Third is Node-RAT. Node-RAT is written in JavaScript and run on Node.js. This malware is multi-platform malware which operation in any environment as long as Node.js is installed, Linux, macOS, and Windows. This malware installed node.exe on the host because Node.js is not installed on Windows. The infrastructure used for this attack has 4 features. After this slide, we will introduce some features. The sheets panel is written in PHP. If you compare the malware sheets code, there are some similar codes. Compromised websites are used as sheet servers. The websites are embedded with index_old.php, which collects the access log of those who visit the website. It seems that the attacker conducted watering for attack using this log. So this is an example of the log file. The IP address and user agent are recorded in this log. So final case is Trend Micro Various Buster Corporation's vulnerability. Various Buster Corporation is Trend Micro's corporate antivirus software sold in Japan. This zero-day vulnerability was used in April of this year. We don't know if this attack was conducted as part of the campaign and which campaign it was. This vulnerability is a directory traversal vulnerability in Various Buster admin server. Attacker infected a host with malware by some means, and after they exploit this vulnerability to escalate their privileges. After the escalation, the attacker are able to take over the Active Directory to conduct lateral movement. If Various Buster admin server is compromised, a DLL file is distributed to client. This DLL set up an RDP connection. This is an example of RDP setup command. It executes their command to change registry and forcibly enable RDP connection from remote host. After that, the attacker then infects a host with malware. Other type of debug help DLL downloaded and executed the partial malware. Partial malware is called POSH-C2. This malware is saved as XML file in System32. POSH-C2 is base64 encoded and included in the XML file. This XML file is executed from MS build. Postgres is a PowerShell-based remote access tool. It is available on GitHub and anyone can use it. One of the features of this attack is that the sheet server is on Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. This means that malware traffic is hidden on Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud traffics. So after this slide, we will introduce TTPs of APT campaign targeting Japan. There have been many APT campaigns targeting Japan. Among them, we will introduce a characteristic TTPs of APT 17, blue termite, and bronze wattle. First, APT 17. APT 17 is known for its variety of TTPs, such as domain name hijacking and supply chain attacks. This is an example of the supply chain attack observed in Japan, where IP tables was compromised. IP tables of the software update server was manipulated to redirect the user to a fake update server. This is an example of the IP tables command. In this type of attack, the update file itself on the server is not compromised at all. It is difficult to recognize that the server is compromised. Next, domain name hijacking. APT 17 compromised NS record on fluids so that the DNS query is redirected to a fake DNS server. Eventually, users are redirected to a fake web server. So IP tables was also used in this attack. If the NS record is altered, all the DNS query will be redirected to a fake DNS server. So the admin of the legitimate website will soon notice the change. Therefore, attacker configures the DNS server so that the query for specific subdomain will be redirected to a fake web server, where other queries were handled as normal. Next is blue termite. Blue termite campaign use various TTPs for lateral movement. There are the example of the lateral movement techniques used in blue termite campaigns. Fake double path is an outstanding feature. Double path protocol is used to automatically provide proxy information configuration to host on the network. The configuration script of double path is automatically obtained. The host from which the configuration script is obtained can be specified by the DHCP server. If no server is specified, the client will access domain WPAD. The attacker leverages this feature and conducts an attack to disguise itself as a fake double path. Even in the environment where double path is not used, attacker can obtain the configuration script based on the browser's configuration. Fake double path server a fake reply to a user host pretending a proxy server. After that, the client will access a fake double path server as a proxy way accessing a web server. Fake double path server inside malicious iframe into web contents to redirect the user to another web server and conduct drive-by download attack. This attack was already obtained in 2040, but it has been since a huge security problem recently. So last bronze battle, every attacker uses Windows command for lateral movement. Bronze battle is the same, using the following Windows command. Besides Windows command, the attacker also uses mimicat and wing aerial. This is an example of the lateral movement step executed command by TIX attacker. The initial investigation starts with who am I command. They use mimikatz to create a golden ticket. Internal recon use a ping command. After that, use net command to map a remote host. They execute the file to remote host with copy and AT command and finally delete the files.
Okay, thank you, Shusei, for introducing the two cases and TTPs TTPs targeting Japan. Okay, from here I would like to wrap up today's talk as a takeaway. First, we have demonstrated that vulnerabilities of region-specific software are often targeted by attackers and thus need to be properly addressed. Second, we also introduced new TTPs observed in the recent attacks and explained the need for countermeasure against them. Finally, we provided insight in intelligence analysis and APT handling by grasping TTPs in different campaigns. Okay, we appreciate again giving us an opportunity to speak at Virus Bulletin, and I'm very glad to, very happy to so many people attending our talks, and thank you for your attention.